Okay, so this is a question I was asked, and I thought it was a perfect companion video for my how to find a technical co-founder video. And that is, how do you find a marketing co-founder to bootstrap with? Well, and this is my personal philosophy. This is what worked for me. So always keep that in mind. But I think you should only do this once you've tried to market something completely on your own. And the reason I think for that is, one thing I like to say is that nothing will make you appreciate marketing and sales like trying to sling your own product, trying to sell your own product. So I do think you need that experience under your belt in order to really appreciate the value of marketing and sales. And another thing I often say is that early on, at least when you're building something from the ground up, the ultimate job of marketing and sales is to, sell the vision while the product catches up, if that makes sense. Ideally, and it depends on your situation, but you really don't want the product to be in a perfect position once you start marketing it, because by then you've marketed it too late, right? Ideally, you actually want to market it beforehand and kind of sell the vision and then build it. But I go into that in more of my other content. But the key here is, once you're ready, once you've tried to market something yourself or if you feel like you already understand the value of marketing and sales, then I think it's time to find someone with actual marketing experience. And that is key, right? You don't want to find someone who has no clue ultimately what they're doing. You want someone who's done some actual marketing. And ideally, they've gone through marketing and successfully marketing their own thing, if possible. That's what you really want to look for. And, there's influencers you can look for. And let me tell you one thing about influencers. So if you find someone who is a type of influencer, someone with an audience of some kind, there are real opportunities there, because by then they've realized at that point, if they have an audience established, where they're making possibly a lot of their revenue with that audience is by, promoting other products, which actually devalues their brand in the long term. And what they may be at the point of realizing in their own journey is that, hey, I have this large audience that in some ways can be difficult to monetize. And the only way I can do that is by selling other people's products, but that devalues my brand. So maybe it's time I tried to make a product of my own with someone else that I can offer to my audience, and it won't devalue my brand as much. And maybe it can fulfill the needs of whatever niche I'm in. So when I say influencers, what I really mean, and I should probably change this quickly, but has an audience, right? Someone that has an audience. Now, relatedly, although not all agency founders have an audience, there are a ton of agencies out there, people who know how to acquire customers through various means. They built their own agencies. If you're not sure kind of what an agency is, then look at my video that you should be able to find on my YouTube about, what is a digital agency. These are, agencies that offer services to typically SMBs, mid-market, and even enterprise clients. But they're offering things like, SEO help, advertising help, even lead generation agencies, even web development. And then, of course, website development is very, very common for them to offer. But basically, they help get a lot of the digital marketing infrastructure built for these companies and help these SMBs and companies do this digital marketing. So these people know how to acquire customers. They know kind of their niche as well as whatever niche within the agency market they're in. So they can be a great marketing partner for you to partner with. And as I already said, I basically already said people with audiences, so that's a bit repetitive there, but your own customers. This is an interesting one as well. So if you have attempted to market a product on your own, hopefully you've acquired a few customers, and hopefully at this point you've interviewed and talked with a few of them. If not, definitely do that, and we will get into that later on in some of these bullets. But your own customers, many of them are gonna be SMBs most likely, unless you have a consumer product, but you can possibly partner with them. When I was working on Notifier, which is still running, by the way, but when I was working on Notifier more heavily, there were a ton of agencies that cropped up in there. Hey, we'd like to partner with you, or there were plenty of opportunities that come from your own customers. So definitely consider them as well. Now, this is just a personal piece of advice here. I would avoid someone with VC only, so venture capital funded marketing experience. That is a whole different ballgame, and I'm not sure they're gonna have the skills necessary to kind of adapt to bootstrapping and marketing a product while bootstrapping. It's a whole different ballgame. It's like doing this. If so, working or in corporate or enterprise, I like to say is working on normal mode, right? Doing a VC funded startup is hard mode, and then doing it while bootstrapping is ultra hard mode. So keep that in mind. Find someone, if possible, that's not just VC only experience. Now, most importantly, and this is the most important thing, right? This partnership you're going to be forming is a deep partnership. You need to find someone that has the same core philosophies as you. And ideally, you want to find someone with a vision, right? You want to find someone with a vision for a product. They know a niche. Ideally, they know how to market to that niche. And you're there to help provide the technical part, right? And that's the most important thing, is find someone you can work with. I got very lucky on Stammer. Ross and I mesh very well together. And in fact, our entire team, we got lucky because the entire team is incredible and awesome. But this is the thing to remember the most, is it's all about ultimately the people you surround yourself with. And the moment you get away from that core philosophy is when you get into dangerous situations where you're not going to succeed. So always trust your instincts. Always find people you can work with. And if something doesn't feel right to you, if your intuition is telling you, oh, I don't know about this, it might be a good idea to avoid that situation. Now, on the flip side, and this depends on the person, right? So I'm giving you completely different sides here, but also don't be afraid. You have to weigh the situation, right? Do not be afraid. Do not let your own fear of partnering up with someone to build something keep you back, right? There's always going to be risks in business, and you can do things in order to kind of protect yourself and set the right perspective. You can say, hey, let's try this out for 30 days and see how well we mesh together. And then that gives you a way to kind of exit, right? And there's plenty of ways you can do this. But on the flip side, my point is, do not avoid partnering with someone just because you're a little bit nervous, right? Sometimes you just got to leap in and see how things go. And that's great advice that I got a while back. Also, equally as important here is, the moment you start trying to build stuff with other people, you need to be open to compromise, right? And you need to work together ultimately as a team. What I mean by this is that there's going to be times where people are going to, you're going to go in directions that maybe you may not agree with the approach that's taken, right? And you're going to have to be willing to say, okay, let me bash down my ego a bit and let's see where this goes. Because as long as the team, has the philosophy that, hey, we're going to explore this, we might be wrong ultimately, but let's explore it and let's, set a time limit on how long we're going to try this, investing in this feature or investing in this approach overall. And we're going to review it. And if we don't see that it's producing the results that we expect, or it's taking us in the wrong direction, then we're going to try something else. So my point is, be open to compromise, right? You may not have the perspective that you think you do, and you're often going to end up wrong in this industry. So be open to being wrong. Be open to compromising on certain approaches. And if you take that approach, then success will be yours. Oh, and then finally, one thing I really advise, and this is to find these people overall, right, is take as many quick meetings as possible. Now, obviously, when you're building things on the side, your time is incredibly valuable, but try to at least once a day, if possible, meet with someone for 15 to 30 minutes, because that is honestly how you find co-founders to bootstrap with. Regardless of whether you're looking for a marketing co-founder or a technical co-founder, take as many small meetings as you can. And if someone offers you the chance to meet with them, try to say yes as much as possible, because you will not believe how as hard as it is to bootstrap something. It's so much easier when you're not doing it yourself, and when you find someone that you can really mesh with and get things built with, and that shares the same philosophies as you, then it can be amazing. And the stuff that just it opens up is incredible. So take as many quick meetings as possible so that you can meet these people, especially in real life, if possible. But that is the approaches I recommend here for finding a marketing co-founder to bootstrap with. And I will continue to update these videos and create new ones as time goes on. But let me know, as always, in the comments if you have any additional questions on this, or if you have any experiences of your own that you think could be valuable for me to hear. Would love to hear them.